All right, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you all had a good weekend. I know I did. Um, Full of rest and a lot of recovery. I know the markets can sometimes take a toll on us, but it only takes a toll if you let it take a toll. Sometimes you have to realize there is more to life than what's inside the charts, or there's more to life than, just day trading. Um, but we still have to stay focused on, our goals at hand. But we don't want to feel like we get like information overload or feel like we get burnt out because then it just doesn't become enjoyable for us. So we have to find that good, happy balance, and whatever that is for you, you'll learn that, over time through experience as a day trader. But anyways, I wanted to start a little early. We're about 8 minutes away from opening bell. Today is Monday, September 22nd, 2025. Let me hover over this so you can see it. Monday, the 22nd, September 2025. So today, like I told you last time, Mondays and Fridays tend to be a little bit of a toss-up for me, specifically this morning, just because when we go into the lower time frames, you'll see why. But fully, still would probably like to see continuation to the upside just based on, our previous bias. But, Mondays can sometimes tell us a lot about, how the week's going to pan out. So just got to be patient. And, that's the main thing with all this. News for today, medium impact at 12 p.m. FOMC member. So should be fine to trade. Let's just go from top down and then I'll put the drawings on. So on the daily, we have this. It's already come down to halfway of this candle's body and about halfway of this candle's wick. If you measure, I'll put it on when I put the drawings on. Anyway, so let's drop down to the 4-hour. 4-hour, we drop down, again, measure this wick, measure this wick. You'll see where these areas are that it dropped down into. It's starting to rally again. Not sure if it can get above here. If it can get above here and close above here, more than likely we'll see this turn into an order block and it should support price. 1 hour, we've just had a market structure shift, break a structure right here on the 1 hour, and bias is back to bullish. But we do have this fair value gap right here. This fair value gap and this order block, bearish order block, 1, 2, 3 candles right there. That might cause a little bit of a speed bump for price. So we'll see, how that trades around there. I'm not opposed to taking a short just because when we drop down to the 50-minute, this is pretty dirty down here. So this might want to come and clean it up. Also on the daily, we do have this volume imbalance with this fair value gap. So if we include the volume imbalance and the fair value gap together, we have this inefficiency. So it could come down, stab into that. We'll see if it maybe wants to after reaching up into this fair value gap, or if it just keeps climbing higher and it just keeps remaining bullish like it has been. So not in a rush to take a trade whatsoever. Just wanted to see, where price is essentially wanting to go. Have an idea, not married to that idea. We always adjust if need be. But we never, forget the idea too initially if we don't, see something that, we're looking for. So 15 minutes, there's our bellwether, 5 minutes, like this pattern right here. Came up here, dropped down, did it drop down into a discount? Hold on, the drawings are about to come back on. Did drop down back into a discount. So this, like I said, is going to send it higher. Like I said, we have this fair value gap on the hourly with an order block. This right here, new week opening gap. This is the new week opening gap, where we closed on Friday at 4:59 and opened up at 6 p.m. on Sunday. This line right here is the midnight opening price. As we can see, we traded above it. Couldn't get that far above it, which is why I'm still, a little bit, wanting to see price, really make an effort to get above there because this thing was pretty heavy. Couldn't get up it and just gave up the ghost. So might want to come down here. Might want to come down into this fair value gap, and I have this low delineated because of that. Also, this low is the bottom of this wick, which I graded. This is the quarter point of it. This is the midpoint. If we do this one, I didn't do it because I wanted to keep the chart a little bit cleaner. But if we grade this wick, we have the halfway point right there. As we can see, price came down, hit that pretty well. It also came down below 3/4 of this wick right here. So nice reaction out of there. Doesn't mean that it's going to send us, all the way, up towards all-time highs. But we can reasonably expect, some type of bullish reaction off of, discount PD arrays like this. Let me see what else. I think that's everything that I wanted to cover so far. Oh, this right here, this purple line, thin purple line, that's the 8:30 opening price. As we can see, it traded barely below that, and now it's climbing higher. So we have conflicting biases when it comes to each candle, when it comes to opening or candles or opening prices, when I like to use them for session biases. This over here, up here, looks like a bearish just pattern, just because trades above it, can't get above it, falls out of bed. This right here, trades below it, can't get below it, starts to retrace higher. So, like I said, we will wait to see what we get. Can't do anything right now. We were hovering a little bit too close around equilibrium. We'll signify that. So we take it from this swing point because this is where the most energetic move was, down to this. Equilibrium's right here, so we are in a premium. This fair value gap and order block are in a premium as well. So could have a reaction down to there. Maybe wants to get down into this order block, and if it can get down past this order block through the midpoint, close below it, might want to get down to this low, this low, this low, and ultimately down into this fair value gap, like I said, on the daily chart. But like I said, we'll see all of that here in just a second, in about a minute and a half here. Like I said, no rush whatsoever to take a trade. We are just spectating at this point, not speculating, we're spectating. Okay. Yep. Excuse me 1 minute, folks. All right. So let me mute my phone so there's no distractions. And we'll go ahead and mark the opening bell here. Oh, this line right here is the closing price at 414. So remember, opening range gap, once we open here, will be from this high to whatever price it is in 3, 2, 1. Right there. There's the opening price. I'll go ahead and we will get half of this range. Okay, the pull. up into the hourly order block and hourly bearish fair value gap. Driving through it, about to hit the halfway midpoint of the opening range gap, and just because it's not perfect, I will say that is, no, needs to go just a little more for halfway, get up there, and it did right there. So we have hit the halfway point of the opening range gap. So keeping with the same thing that I've said the past couple videos, within, the first 30 minutes, there's a good chance of that being hit. And then 70% of the time it does get hit throughout, the day, one way or another. So there's that. We'll see where it's going to go from here. Still within here. We are now coming up on the this thing looks like it's just going to keep climbing higher. So yeah, I like that as bullish. So it's completely disregarding that. It's coming up into the new week opening gap right here. Let's go on the 15-minute. Now we are in a premium, so we can't enter into a long just yet. But I did like all of that price action as far as when it comes to for bullish. And, I said at the beginning of this video, I have no reasons to still not be bullish. I just needed to see more about this morning session because of the price action that we had overnight. This dash line right here is the midpoint of this hourly order block. And let's see here. This was the opening price of this order block, which is this candle's opening price. Up into the new week opening gap. Now, if this thing can get above here and close above here, this will be a balanced price range and no reason for it to come down anywhere else. So we have a low, we have a high, and we have a lower low. So we do have a breaker right here, or a potential bullish breaker that we could possibly use if we are to get above, like I said, this and close above it. Coming out of the new week opening gap, hit the midpoint right there, which is that white dash line. Almost reached the midnight opening candle. I'm going to refresh this, folks, just because. Can I refresh it? Yeah. Oh, I can't move this bar. See, I have this bar right here. I know you probably can't see it, but this is my recording buttons, like options, and I can't move it. And the refresh button is right there, so let's do this. Because I want to fix that. That's just a glitch. There we go. Now, we do have this right here, which is the first presented fair value gap, post 9:30. And what we also have is we have a couple volume imbalances to include with it. So we have that one there. Do we have one below it as well? Yes, we do. So we got to include this full thing right here, including these two volume imbalances for the first presented fair value gap. And it's coming down into it right now. Still just watching price. Coming down off the new week opening gap from the midpoint of the opening range gap, hourly fair value gap. It is staying inside of it for right now. The wick came up, hit the new week opening gap, stayed below the midpoint of the order block. Now it's coming back up higher again. Now it's inside the hourly fair value gap. Like I said, here's the opening price of that bearish order block right there. Still within the first 30 minutes of trading. So nothing really exciting yet. Ugh. Like I said, it's not a balanced price range until it gets. Oh, well, we lost connection. Oh, give it a second, folks. Sorry. We'll get it back. Hopefully. Oh, I don't want paper trading. Also, I need this. Oh, yeah. We'll go ahead and go over the account balance as well. So same as where we left off last week, 101,186 and 50 cents. Nothing today so far. Coming back up above the bearish fair value gap, up into the new week opening gap, like that, or bullishness coming outside the first presented fair value gap. Good reaction out of there. Now, here's the midpoint of that hourly order block. Let's see if it, since it's above it now, see if it can't come down, touch it as support, because we do have this order block right here. It's already come down and touched that as well. We're above the opening price of that hourly bearish order block. We're above the midpoint as of right now. So this thing can close above it in 22 minutes, then have a good chance of continuation higher. Coming back down into it, swept this high, stayed below the midpoint of the new week opening gap, couldn't touch the midnight opening price. Let's see, do we have any? We have this high that's pretty close to this right here, but not going higher than the midpoint of the new week opening gap for right now. So come back down, about to have a shift in market structure right here, bearish on the 1 minute. It's nice. Go breaker, high, low, higher high, right here. Still nothing yet. Aren't a premium, very much a premium. Again, from this high to this low, above equilibrium, premium. These levels of optimal trade entry. You can find all of that information over at ICT's YouTube page. This is the very first basic model that he teaches his students within his private mentorship. So you can check that out to see what those are. But I'll show you my fib real quick so you can see those levels are 0.62, 0.705, and 0.79. All right. So I'm back down into first presented fair value gap. Look where the bodies stop right at the low of it. Nope. There we go. See that reaction right there? That's a nice reaction for bearish. Oh. Coming up on the first macro time for the morning session. Still stopping at the low of that first presented fair value gap. That's nice right there. Coming down into this fair value gap, dipping down into it. Back to the midpoint of the opening range gap and the midpoint of that hourly order block right there, which is this orange dashed line. This solid orange line right here is that opening price of the order block, and this red box you can see is the hourly fair value gap, banging around there right now. Body staying, we're just outside of it now. Not very clean, right? Right here, all this consolidation. Like I said, I'm not liking as far as, leaving that like that. So that's why we're just being patient here. I come around here, if I measure from the midpoint of the high of the opening range gap as well, you can see it comes up and hits the 3/4 point, which is sitting right on top of that midpoint of the new week opening gap. Still around the midpoint of the order block, and still around the first presented fair value gap. 5 minutes till the macro starts at 9:50. What happened? You lose connection again. Might have. Yep. That's okay. I'm watching it on my phone as well, don't worry. Let's see here on the 15 minute. So it did close above here, this high. So if it's bullish, then it should just stay above this, or this area, I should say, and still gravitate higher. If it's not, then, like I said, we'll be coming down here. And I can, definitely see that. But it is staying above the first presented fair value gap for now, staying above the midpoint of the opening range gap, and it looks like it's trying to go higher, but kind of just chopping around right now, which is typical of Mondays. Mondays, sometimes the morning sessions are very, very slow, choppy. You can get beat up in here just because, it'll go one direction for a little bit, then go another direction for a little bit, then go back and forth and consolidate. I'm not saying it always happens. I'm just saying, that's sometimes a typical signature of Monday price action. 2 minutes and 55, 54. This thing is still climbing higher above the hourly fair value gap now, above the midpoint of the order block. Liking that as a bullish signature. Excuse me 1 second again. All right, what I miss? So we've had some nice reactions above the first presented fair value gap, or inside it and then getting above it again, even though it's come back down into it. It has filled it completely and dipped into this fair value gap. And essentially all that was doing was, let me put this right here, right there. Actually, I need to do that and that, yeah. Coming down into a discount, and now it's sending it higher. Now above the midnight opening price for bulls, or for bullish behavior. I like to see, this thing maybe wants to come back down into it again. See if we can't get down and maybe into the first percent fair value gap. See if it can act as support to give us, something maybe that we can speculate on. I think we just swept this high right here. Yeah, we did. We just swept that high. Now we have this high, and then previous all-time highs, which it can 100% come up there. Looking pretty bullish. Looking like it's going to close above this fair value gap. Also, this would turn into a breaker. Low, high, lower low, if this closes above that closing price. Bias is already, or market structure has already shifted bullish. But, like I said, we are in a premium. So we can't take a trade for a long as of right now until it gives us some sort of signature for a discount. And like I said, if it closes above here, this will be a balanced price range, and it should not have the need to come down here. If it does, then we could probably see it coming somewhere down, maybe back down to the opening price. Like I said, would not like to see that. Now it's above the midpoint of the new week opening gap. So see if it can find support here. Or maybe send it higher again. Yep, like that. I haven't missed anything, folks. Because it's moved from here to here, don't mean we haven't missed it. It doesn't mean we haven't missed anything. Doesn't mean we have missed anything. Excuse me. There we go. It's a Monday, folks. And if you notice this type of price action too, this thing screamed up from the open. Same thing with the 830 opening price. It just barely went below it. I'm going to delete because I can tell where this fair value gap is on the chart. But just for cleaning up it, I'm going to delete that. So it's looking like this thing might close above the closing price of this candle, so this will turn into a breaker. And we could possibly see a reason to use that to take us up higher. Mark that right there. Now it's just bumped the top of the, oh, there it goes right there. Now it's hit the top of the opening range gap. So we are fully closed on the opening range gap. So if you go to regular trading hours, you can see from the opening price at 9:30 to the closing price at 4:14, we have closed this gap completely. Good reaction out there. Heading towards previous all-time highs again, which you can see are right there. Nice reaction right there. Five minutes before that hourly candle closes. Coming back down, hitting the top of the opening range gap, the high of it. Down below it, stopping short of all-time highs, generating maybe some liquidity. Coming down below that high that we signified right there. Back into this hourly breaker we have right there. Also, I'm going to measure the opening range after it hits 10 o'clock. The opening range is the first 30 minutes of trading after 9:30. And you can do those projections higher or lower depending on, where you think the market is going to go for the session or the day. And those can be projections of where, price could gravitate towards. Like I said, this whole thing is or runs on mathematical and logical levels. Coming back down to the midnight opening candle, sweeping below it into the new week opening gap. Here's that closing price at that breaker, which is pretty much sitting right on that midnight opening candle. So I'd like to see it close on an hourly basis above that midnight opening candle. And we have 1 minute 46 seconds, 45 seconds to do that. Yep, I like that. I like that a lot. I did leave these equal level lows, which I don't particularly. Same thing right here, has these equal level lows with this fair value gap left unfilled for right now. Less than a minute before that hourly candle closes. Coming back up into the high of the opening range gap. Sending it higher. Okay, so the low of the opening range is actually the 9:30 candle because it's the lowest candle. It has the lowest price from 9:30 to 10 o'clock. Right here for right now is the high of it. We'll see if it wants to pop up there before that. If it doesn't, then I will measure from this low to this high and get some projections for potential targets to the upside for the morning session. 0.25 is right here. 0.5 right there. Make these a little bit thinner. And then -1's right here. That's all I'm going to put on the chart for right now. That's plenty of room for us to potentially see to the upside, especially on a Monday too. So we closed above this candle on an hourly basis. So if it can come down, touch this, and then have a reaction out of it, we can speculate on getting along here. But like I said, not in a rush to do anything. This technically is the full breaker. Came down, touched that pretty perfectly right there. But that's a nice reaction out of that. Yep, I like that a lot. Still within the first macro time as well. It's got 8 minutes left in that macro time, or a little bit less than 8 minutes, I should say. Popping up there, stopping right below all-time highs, previous all-time highs. Now remember, if we have a higher time frame PD array and we come down into it and we have a reaction out of it and a fair value gap completely outside of it, then it's a valid, I would say that's a valid trade setup, and we could look at speculating something on that. But still, I'm not in a rush. What I would possibly like to see happen is it come down here, sweep these equal level lows, sweep these equal level lows, come below into this fair value gap right here, maybe touch the bottom of the new week opening gap, or have a wick come down here into this fair value gap at the body, stay above it. But like I said, that's in a perfect world, and we don't live in a perfect world. Kind of boring, right? How many handles has it moved since the opening price? Opening price was 24,815, or the high was 24,886. 70 handles, not too shabby. You could make a nice reasonable trade on there, but do you have anything that you could find an entry on? I wouldn't say yes, in my opinion. You can if you have different trading models, but this right here is, pretty either balanced or efficient, or, like I said, doesn't have a lot of areas to where you could get kind of long in. Nothing that I would, at least, high probability wise. Like, obviously you can, here's the thing. You can know where price wants to go. And that's what a lot of people, kind of, use as an excuse that, they might not be as versed in, trading or anything like that, because they'll take a trade, they'll get stopped out, and, 10, 15 minutes later, price will run to their target, and they're like, "Oh shoot, see, look, I had it right the entire time." But, half the battle of trading is, finding an entry. I mean, the directional bias of where price is going to go, you can figure that out, within, like I said, the first 30 minutes pretty easily. But it's really about having the patience, or, having the plan or, having the strategy to know when to get into the market, to get into sync with it. Because, this thing understands that people might know the direction, but it's going to do everything humanly possible not to, allow you to profit from it. And if that means, making it unclear like this and forcing people to, get into it thinking, oh, they might see something, or they might think that, this, it looks like this, but, they're kind of saying it's about 95% there, but it's not 100% there like they would if they were confident in taking the trade, then that's when, stuff like that happens and they get hurt. And that's what can happen on Mondays as well. Oh, just swept all-time highs. Uh, Shallow run. This thing's just screaming higher, isn't it? Slow down though. From opening bell to now, look how slow it's gotten. Which, I mean, we did have a very, very, very big candle right here. This could possibly be creating a fair value gap right here with this breaker also. So we could see it dip down into here after creating this candle and use it as a means to send it higher. I said this is where I said Mondays come in where it's slow. Might be a setup for the afternoon. We do have this volume imbalance as well. So when it creates this fair value gap, we'll have to include this volume imbalance with it. Just grinding higher for right now. No reason to be in the market right now, in my opinion. Because it could all of a sudden just drop down. It could drop down all the way to this first presented fair value gap. And I would still be confident if it does that we would be going higher. So just playing it patiently, and I'll probably do the same thing as the first live session that I did. We got a trade, we found a trade at the end of the session last time, but that's probably how long I'll stay on this time. Maybe a little bit shorter, to be honest with you, because it's Monday. I'll still monitor price throughout the day and maybe throughout the afternoon, and if I see something, I'm probably not going to make a live stream video, but I might do what I did last time and maybe record the trade execution and do a trade recap. I don't know, that'd be 2 videos in one day, and that is a lot. Coming down off the all-time high, that was a very, very shallow run. I would 100% expect it to drive through there more than that. So that could be a draw on liquidity for us to potentially see if we are to get a setup. Come back down below the opening range gap high, which the high again is the closing price at 414 on Friday. So swept below this low right here, and the bias is bearish, or the market structure has shifted bearish on the 1-minute time frame. Something that I will mention, and ICT also mentions it as well. Anytime price on whatever time frame goes below or gets above a higher low, it is a short-term discount or premium, meaning that since it went below that low, we are in a short-term discount. getting down into the new week opening gap again, coming down to the midnight opening candle, or midnight opening price, excuse me. Do have these equal level lows, like I said. Could see those get swept here, come down, hit the midpoint of the new week opening gap, come down, maybe get below these equal level lows and into this fair value gap right here. Very, very small. I'll signify it though. Chart's getting a little bit busy, but I can still read it in my eyes. I know it might be a little bit more difficult for you. There, it's that. Swept below these lows, get below the midnight opening price. A little bit of a reaction out of there. I don't believe that we are done going lower as of yet. Come back up to the top of the breaker and also the high of this candle right here on the hourly. I'll just take this off because we understand the high of the breaker is the high of that candle, so taking that off. Inside the hourly breaker, like I said. Now, because this is going to create such a big inefficiency, unless it comes like all the way freaking down here, which, like I said, I don't see that. Then, if we are to get a run up, I'm not going to say it's going to go too much higher because once this thing creates an inefficiency, it's going to want to draw price down into it and then send it higher. So if we do get a trade before the morning session ends, I'm going to be pretty conservative when it comes to, how high I think this thing's going to go. So I might just aim for, the previous all-time highs and maybe if there's, more liquidity that I can take partials at. Came down into that fair value gap, just like I said. Now we're having a reaction out of there again. And excuse me one more time, folks. Like I said, I apologize. It's the bladder of a gnat. Like I said, when I trade, I don't know why. Anyways, so we swept all of this liquidity right here. Came down into this breaker, low, high, lower, low. Now we are hovering around the midnight opening price. It's that on the dot. Did like that. Because now we are on top of the new week opening gap. Market structure shifts bullish. This creates a fair value gap. I will look to take a long and possibly see a run above here and maybe get up into here. Check our risk. I said we got to get a fair value gap though. Just got to make a fair value gap. Check it right here for right now. Put that below this 220. So let's do 15. Yeah, let's do 15. That sounds good to me. Or let's try 20. 440. No, let's do 17. Let's get it right in the middle because today's a Monday. Okay. I want to buy. Come on. Why can't we buy 17? And we lost connection. Great. Let's see if we can't do it on our phone here. Oh, we're back. Okay. We're good. And we are going to cancel this because remember the orders are really, really glitchy on this thing. So cancel that. We're going to redo this and buy 17 here. And like I said, stop is going to be right there. Almost there. Come on, a little more. Give it to me. A little more. Right, right there. Come on, get me in. Come on. Oh, don't do that to me. Oh, no way. Oh, it looks like I might have been a little bit too perfect. Yep. Shoot, folks. A little bit too perfect on that. Let's see if it comes back down into it. If it comes back down into it, we'll be fine. Right there. Sometimes that happens, folks. Sometimes I'm trying to be too precise and I miss the entry. Or the better entry, I should say. This thing creates a fair value gap. We could see this thing using it because it is the first fair value gap outside of the breaker. So we'll use that to get long. Yep, there it is. There it is, folks. Yep, too perfect on it. Dang. We also have this breaker, low, high, lower, low. This closes above there. I will take that. Did it close above it? Yes, it did. See if it can't come down into a discount. From this low to this high. Discount is right there. This thing is still bugging. Stop below the first level that we have of 0.25. Can't rush it, folks. And I was too perfect, or I was trying to be too perfect. So that happens. You can't get mad though. That's the way it goes sometimes. See, we can't re-enter though. Or get a re-entry, I should say. This thing looks like it is climbing. So what we're gonna do is we have another swing low right here. This dipped into that fair value gap. This thing closes above here. Put a limit order right at the top of that breaker. Like that. Now we are in. Nice reaction out of there. Still pretty good. Coming back down, possibly into this value gap. Still looking good though. We are still looking good. Yep. Get above that candle right there. See if we can't get above there. Yep. Just like that. Get above it. Yep. Boom, like that. Once it gets above this high, I will take some off. Yep, right here. We'll take, let's see, let's take 9. Let's take 9 off. Sell 9. Right below it, right there. Jump up there, get that. Jump up there, get that. Jump up there, boom. Got it right there. Get it right there again. So now we are going to move the stop to break even. And we'll target this here next, because now it should not come below halfway of this candle right there. I'll put the stop right there. We'll take off 4 when it gets up here. Here's 0.25 of the opening range as well. So what I'm actually going to do, yep, I'm going to sell 2 right now while it's getting above there. I'm going to sell 2 right here then. Not a very big trade. Total P&L 300 so far. Grab this right there. Boom. Love that. Set that to 4. We'll take 1 more off when we get above here. Again. When we hit that, we'll take 1 off again. And then we will take 1 off here. And we'll take another 1 off. I don't know. Funding ticks, you need to check out your orders, dog. Total P&L 426 as of right now. Wish I would have gotten that entry though. I wish I would have gotten that. Coming down, volume imbalance. because it looks like it might want to come down here into this order block. Came down, almost touched the order block. So if it comes up here, touches this level again, I'm going to take two more off because that is a pretty solid reaction to the downside right there. Nope. Might get stopped out here, folks, which is fine. We had a nice trade. Oh, looking like we might. Comes up there, touches that level right there. I'll take two off. Alright, come on. Come on. Get up. Get up there. Get up there. If it touches the high of that volume imbalance again, I'll take two off. Nope. Shoot. Missed it. Missed it, missed it, missed it. Not on the ball today, folks. The Monday. Nope, here we go. Like I said, I'm going to take two off. Right there. Boom. Thank you. Railing the stop. I got two left on. I'll leave those right there below that. Came up there, touched that hot level again. So one there, and we will hold it if it gets up there to our target of that -1. Actually, excuse me. Let's see. What, like I said, funding ticks, you need to get your shit together. Excuse my language, but this is not fun. It's not fun, ding ticks. So, took two off just because wasn't quite sure it was gonna this volume imbalance was gonna support price or if it was gonna come down there. And like I said, since we didn't get this entry down there, wasn't gonna chance it. So we got two contracts left on. We'll see if this thing can jump up there, hit our limit order, and then this will be our essential final target, which is the I think it's -1 of the opening range. Look at that right there. See, yeah, this system is not the greatest. So -1 is actually up here. What do I want to do? What do you guys want to do? You want to wait till it gets up here? I mean, we got two contracts on, so we got some. We can be a little bit overzealous, I guess. Because I bagged a lot. Total P&L, open P&L. Got 377 so far. 89. Looking like we are still going up. I'm going to be smart though. And I'm going to take some off right there. Sorry to everybody that voted for wait till it gets all the way up here. Move my stop to here. Using that volume imbalance nicely. Go up there, pop up there and grab that, please. Yep. Yep. Like that. Alrighty. So stop one. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to close this thing out right there. because I'm satisfied with what I've made. I did not get the entry that I originally wanted to. And this thing is getting close to 11 o'clock, which is going to be the close of this hourly candle, which we could see it come back down into this area right here. So I want to make sure I am not in that. Let me go ahead and put these on right here. Executions. Well, where did I buy it? Bought it right there, as you can tell. Stop was just below there. And our final target is up here. So let's see if we get the full thing. Don't really care, just because we've bagged more than enough. Do, 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 do. So that is Monday's trading. Glad we were able to get a trade within the time frame that I'm on here. Just because, and you kind of saw me. Hold on, I'm gonna change this real quick. Why don't y'all say anything about that? Y'all saw me actually miss a trade because that is where I wanted to get in. As if you watch the video back, you can tell. But the logic behind this one was, and you're like, why did you enter here? You're all the way up here. You have to wait for it to come down into a discount. Well, not necessarily, because I told you once this candle closes above here, this becomes a breaker. And since we have price action on the downside, we have it on the upside, and it's closed above this candle's closing price, excuse me. This is a balanced price. This should have no reason coming back down below these two candles. So that's the reason why I felt comfortable taking that entry. And like I said, I was a little bit more conservative with, because if I took this entry right here, I still would have taken a partial above this high. I just had to take it here with the entry there instead of getting more than what I originally want, or less than what I would have originally wanted. But that's the reason why, the logic of that trade, or that's the reason why I took that trade off of a re-entry, because that was a missed entry originally. And really, if I wanted to be, this one is going to jump up and grab my limit order here. You want to wait for that, folks, or you want me to explain the trade? I'll wait for it. I'll wait for it, and then we'll continue. Come on. A little more. A little more. Boom. There we go. And we are done. There's the business, folks. P&L 424 for today. I think it was risking like 300 something. So a little more than what we risk. Like I said, not trying to do anything crazy. It's a Monday as well. That's the reason why I didn't do my full margin of $500, which is 0.5%, which is the maximum risk as of right now. Let's see. Do I want to take these off? Let's take these off for right now. You'll see those, right, though? On and off, on and off, on and off. Okay, let's keep them off for right now so I can explain this. Anyways, I'm gonna take this off as well. So, this breaker, and technically this candle, could have had my stop a little bit below there, but just wanted to make sure, so I put it right there. It should not come below this candle if it's bullish. And look how many times it used this. So as soon as it got above here, I confirmed it. I put my limit order right at the close of this candle, which you know that I like to put limit orders at this area of breakers. We had a nice reaction out of this breaker. Here's the first fair value gap outside of it. It didn't come down into it. Why? Because we have another fair value gap right here. And good rule of thumb and ICTOs tell you also, if you have two fair value gaps, and I mean you have this right here, there's no reason why it needs to come all the way down to here. It could have, and you would, if I were to take this trade off of this fair value gap, I would have had to put my stop below here because you do have to allow it, but it doesn't have to. Did it get down to equilibrium? No. Did it close above this candle's closing price? Yes. So once it does that, it doesn't even need to come down into this fair value gap. Again, technically. I was going to allow for it. That's the reason why I put my stop where it was inside the breaker. But this thing was showing that it's very, very bullish. So that's the reason why I felt comfortable taking the trade like I did. Use this volume imbalance very, very nicely. Going up higher now. Not concerned with it any longer. I got what I came for. We're getting towards the end of the hour. I'll wait till 11 o'clock with y'all. I'll put these back on so you can tell how far it goes past where I was in the market. But I think what was it? Two point something? 2 point something R? Right there. Stop below there. Target there, 2.22. There it is. So I'll leave that on. I will do some market commentary for y'all. Hits this fair value gap very, very nicely. I like that reaction out of there. That's the reason why I'm going to be kicking myself the rest of the day for not capturing that. But it happens. And you can either... But here's the thing. You can't chase price. And I know it seemed like I was chasing price here, but the move was not over with, obviously. The move is still continuing. It did start down here, or it started technically right here. Because what did I say that I liked? I didn't like. I didn't like these equal level lows here, and I didn't like these equal level lows here. So what was I waiting for? I was waiting for it to sweep this liquidity. Because what do people see when they see these two? These see these and they see these. They're like, oh, this area must be a good form of support. So where are they going to put their stop loss? Somewhere in this area, below this low, on the midpoint of the new week opening gap. So I fully believe it is going to be coming up here just because this is the -1 of standard deviation above the opening range, which is this. Hold on, folks. I'm going to freaking fix this down here again. You know, I did it here. What in the... What do I do? I'm... That's not... Yeah, I don't... Because... Ugh, I can't refresh it. Do I go to another website and then come back to it? I just want to go to Google real quick, folks. You can go to Google. Google. Now let's go back to TradingView. Still that. I don't know how to fix that, folks. I'm sorry. Whatever. So total P&L was that's paper trading. I don't want paper trading. I was wondering why it looked different. Total P&L was $424. Small little scalp. Yeah, that's pretty much all I was really aiming for anyways. Coming up on the 1050 to 1110 macro down here. Look at that in about 2 minutes and change. But this is, no, see, it fixed itself now. What the? See, this is where the start of the move was, and this is where I wanted to get in. Obviously, I was being a little bit too perfect because I was doing this, I was measuring that, trying to get equilibrium, and I think I had my limit order too low below equilibrium. I don't know, you can go back and watch the video, and then, I was trying to like slowly, because I knew once it did this, I wasn't going to get that entry anymore, so I wanted to get in, and, I'll mark this for right now so you can see it. But this is the fair value gap because we do have a volume imbalance, and we'll make this green. This is the fair value gap that I wanted to take the trade off of. And we do, like I said, have to include the volume imbalance. Like I said, I was measuring from this low to this high, which is the swing point of, like I said, the most energetic leg or this displacement that I was looking at that I wanted to take the trade off of there. And as you can tell, it comes right down into a discount. This, before all of this, that's the reason I was looking at it coming into a discount because this had not closed above here. Once it closed above here, that's why I felt comfortable that I could take the trade there because it should not come back down in here or anywhere below it after it closes above here. So, and if we do the projections also from this retracement, then we can determine where this thing's going to go also. This thing's right at one standard deviation of that retracement right there. That is a beautiful, beautiful level to be hit right there. But I see no reason why this thing shouldn't be still climb higher. Will I think that it hits this before 11 a.m.? I have no idea. Do I care? No. Here is where I was a little bit concerned, but and that's gonna happen, folks. I think how many did I sell? I sold two. Sold two of the remaining four that I had on. Um, because I didn't know if this was gonna get back above the volume imbalance or not. So I wanted to make sure that I bagged some more. And it was right at this, above this high too, which is where I took my first partial anyway. So looks like I took it a little bit below it. So I took it a little bit below it then. That's okay. Like I said, we never assume that we absolutely know for certain where this thing is going to go. We have an idea, and that's why I had an idea here. And was I right about my idea? I was right about my idea. Was I profitable in that idea? Yes, I was. Did I get the full thing that I was thinking where it was going to go? No, I did not. Am I concerned? No, I'm not. To some people, I mean, some people are going to say when they see this, oh, you were too impatient and you got out of the trade early. Well, yes and no. Yes, I did, and I took partial pretty close to my entry, but why did I do that? Because I missed this initial entry, and I knew, or not I knew, I had my idea was it was going to go above this high, and I had already told myself if I took that trade down here, I was going to take something off it right there. So, keeping with my same logic, I'm going to take something off of there at the same exact place. If it would have stopped me out as soon as I would have taken this partial, so what? At least I was still profitable. I mean, I wouldn't have been as profitable if I got the entry down here, but I was still profitable. So it's all about your personal preference. And and my personal preference was that I could still take the trade. And look at this. That's just great. Isn't that just beautiful, folks? But like I said, I explained the logic of the whole trade or the whole market structure as well before it even happened. And I'll put it up again for completion's sake so I can explain it once more. But what did I say? I said it was down here. This was that's a premium. I mean, that's a discount. That's really where you should enter. But I mean, I'm not going to enter before 9:30, and I wanted to, get extra confirmation that it was wanting to go higher because we also had, like I said, this this hourly bearish fair value gap. And we also had that breaker right there that I mean, not breaker, that order block, which turns into a bullish breaker. So this right now, when price was down here and hadn't closed yet, down here, it was a bearish order block. And I was like, I needed to get through that, above it, close above it, and then we could possibly look at taking something to the upside. It got through there. It closed above this candle. I said as soon as it closed above this candle, we have this breaker. And it should, if it's good, come down into it, cause a reaction out of it, and we should be able to find something to have continuation to the upside because I knew that it was going to break all-time highs. Now, I say I knew it, but I mean, come on. When you're right here, there's no way it's not going to want to come back up here. After disregarding all of this on the downside, come on, folks. And we had the confirmation down here of, the midpoint and quarter point of the wicks. So as soon as it closed above here, mark this on the hourly for a bullish breaker. Go back to the 1 minute where we were at. When this closes up here, what did I say? I said I didn't like that, and I didn't like that, and we had this fair value gap down here. This blue box is that breaker. Here's the hourly fair value gap to the bearish fair value gap. It has no reason to come down into it, but I was saying it could come down as low as the midpoint of the opening range gap. Why? Because it's still inside this breaker and it would be in a discount. But like I said, once it closes above this, it should not come below this candle. And I said the closing price of that breaker, which is where I like to take trades, if I'm on the time frame that I'm executing on, is right at that price. And look right there. It hits that price, doesn't go very much down farther, and sends it higher. Great reaction, right? I mean, the best reaction you would like to see out of that. So when it comes back down into this, that's when this happens right here. And that's when we have that major displacement up there. It sweeps this liquidity. It gets into this fair value gap, which I already had noted that I liked, and show displacement. Right here, when it was dropping down, right there, market structure had shifted bearish. Right there. I'll mark that right there. Market structure had shifted bearish after it broke that low. So we had to wait for a swing high to be formed and it to break through that swing high for it to flip back over bullish, because we have a swing low there, broken there, we have lows there broken, we have lows there broken. So we're pretty bearish right now. But when we have this created and we have this candle with displacement close above it, with this energetic candle hits right on the midnight opening price, right below the midnight opening price. And if I was maybe using a more advanced model, which I'm not, mainly because I'm not comfortable with using advanced models. I can see this, but I'm not confident enough to take the trade down here for right now. So I want extra confirmation. What's the extra confirmation? This swing high has to be broken, or this swing high has to be traded through. Is it traded through? Yes, on this candle right here. Do we have a fair value gap that is created? We do have a fair value gap that is created right there. It is our entry that we would have had, that I would have had in a discount. Yes, it was. Was it in too much of a discount? It was. Like, but what is this thing like? This thing should have been telling me what? It's very, very bullish. So it might just come down into equilibrium and send it higher, which is exactly what it did. Because like I said, we measure this from this low to this high, which is the swing point that it was at before, and I'll do market replay, before our entry. So right there, I should have had my limit order right there. And boom, in right there. We're in the market, or I wanted to be in the market there. Where could we have targeted? Like I said, original swing high. We have all-time highs here as well. I could have taken a partial below there, or right at that point as well. But I wanted to see it trade above there and go higher. But I wanted to take something off there because it could have come up here, failed again, gotten down lower into this breaker, and then continued higher. So I wanted to make sure I funded the trade. So right here, I'm like, you saw me, I'm moving my limit order, trying to get it right at the top of the fair value gap again. Didn't get it, sends it higher, busts through all-time highs, like I told you, and I was starting to readjust. I was starting to say, okay, my conviction is still going higher. My conviction it's still going higher. I wanted to see it close above this candle's close, which it did technically right there, but I was still a little bit, like I said, not confident on taking the entry completely right there. So what was I waiting for? Waiting for a candle body, not yet. Right there, close up completely outside of it. That's when I showed you I put the limit order right there, put my stop right there. This next candle comes down, trips me in right there. You can see where I put my stop right there. Comes down just a little bit lower, hits the midpoint of this order block right here, because once it trades above here, this becomes an order block. This should support price. This candle comes down into this order block, so this candle should create what? A propulsion block. So once it gets above this candle and it dips back down into it, this thing should act like a springboard. Boom. Boom. Now watch this. Right there, comes back down into this propulsion block right here, and I'm actually, because I didn't call this a propulsion block at the time because I wasn't paying attention to it. But now that I see it, it comes down, and let me take this off for right now. Comes down into this propulsion block right here, and if I mark the opening or the high of this candle of the propulsion block, you can see it barely touches that propulsion block. And what does it do? As soon as it touches that propulsion block, immediately rejects, gets back above this volume imbalance, and boom, gets above it again. And doesn't it come back down into does it come back down into it or not? Can't remember. Looks like it doesn't. Boom, there is our, I think that was our final take profit, right? What is going, oh, it's because I'm in bar replay. Yeah. Here's I don't want the label. I don't want the labels on there. Right there. That's our final take profit right there. Remember I took one off there, and I took one off there. I took one off when it came above that high, and I took one off right before that. Coming down right there, it's 11 a.m. This thing is creating a new candle now. This thing can come up here, jump up, and tap that, but I don't see it coming too much farther for the morning session. And like I said, the morning session ends at 12 o'clock, which is right here, and that is the start of lunch. So hits the propulsion block and sends it higher. We have these two down candles right here, which is the order block. Once we trade above there, this should act like a bullish order block again. This candle comes down, touches the bullish order block. Also, this down candle comes into another down candle. This is another propulsion block. Once this trades above this opening price, this comes down, sends it higher. Springboard up there. So yeah, there is the business. This thing looks like it's going to hit that before lunch, which is good because that's what I wanted it to do. But yeah, so there's a trade recap. There's a logic. There's me walking you through it from start to finish. Hopefully everything made sense. Let me clean this up just a little bit. Oh, here's what you can do. So if you would like, you can screenshot that. And I know you might not be able to determine exactly what everything is. I did explain it throughout the video. So what you can do is that you can go back, watch the video, have these all marked up on your charts, and do your own annotations there. But would have loved to have gotten that entry, got this entry instead, which is completely fine. Another reason why I wasn't willing to take the trade right there is because it could have dipped down into here and I would have had to put my stop all the way down here. That was too wide of a stop, so I wanted to make sure that, it got above the breaker so I could take it then, and that was I think that was better risk for me at least. I don't know, could have been wrong. I mean, that was what I was thinking in my head at the time though. Which is fine. Like I said, you don't gotta be, you don't have to be at the low and ride it all the way to the high. You can get in somewhere in the middle, which is where I kind of got it in, maybe a little bit before the middle, and just take chunks out of it. Take chunks out of the run. But once more quickly, swing low, broken into a hourly breaker, swept this low. I'll mark these as well, so you can mark them or you can have them as well. So swept that low into the small fair value gap, reaction, displacement, swing high, broken, market structure shift, bullish, matching up with our bias, fair value gap, boom, below equilibrium entry, up here, breaker, gets above breaker, comes back down into it, finds support, sends it higher, order block, propulsion block, higher, down into the propulsion block, volume imbalance, through it, above it, support, above this, order block, down, another order block, down candle into down candles, propulsion block, up, hasn't come down into this candle yet, so that might be where we're gravitating towards. Up to the projections above the opening range, from low at 9:30 to the high before 10 o'clock. Right there. That's the high made before 10 o'clock. That's 9:55. Can't use that one. That's 10:02. So this is the highest candle before 10 o'clock. This is the lowest candle before 10 o'clock. Project that up. That's the levels that we have right here. Hopping around, or it got above the 0.75, but it hasn't gotten to -1 yet. I'll adjust that just a little bit. That's where, I'm thinking it's going to gravitate and settle for the morning and possibly the day, but it can go higher if it wants to. So took partials above this high. When we got above here again, I took another partial. When we got above, I took multiple partials. Coming down here below the volume imbalance, was a little bit concerned once it got down below there, so that's the reason why I took 2 off after it came back up here. 1 off after it comes up past this high, and then final take profit right there at the level of 0.5. Looks like it might be coming down into this order block, which is also a propulsion block because we have down candle into a down candle. Not going to stay on to see if it comes down in there and see if it offers it as support. I think I've explained enough for the day. There it is, guys. Oh my gosh. There is Monday's trading. I'll more than likely be able to edit this video and get it up by tonight. No new subscribers yet, folks. No rush though. Just can't do live streams because of it. But we're not really, concerned about, becoming YouTube famous. So if I get to 50 subscribers, no problem. And I can do live streams, and I'll start doing live streams. If I don't, then I'll just keep making these videos, which is, I enjoy making these videos as well. It's just like you're not here with me. I'm like just kind of by myself, but you'll see it later on. Okay, so I'm gonna clean this up just once more. But that was a nice little trade, nice little scalp. Tomorrow, we do have news, or we have a pretty heavy set of news, 9:45, 10 o'clock, and 12:35. So not too crazy about the morning session. Could be slow, could be choppy, could not, like I said, have a lot of movement just because of Fed Chair Powell speaking at 12:35. Might try to avoid it, especially since I was profitable today. Mondays, like I said, are a toss-up. So if you are profitable on Mondays, then, you can, like I said, based on your comfortability, because I like to do the bulk of my trading Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but we have such heavy news on Tuesday, and since I was profitable today, it might change my perception of how I go into tomorrow. Because tomorrow, I was already going to be cautious anyways, but now I'm really going to be cautious because I'm profitable and there's heavy news on Tuesdays, or this Tuesday. So that's just something that, you have to determine for your own. That's how I, am going to perceive my own performance, even though, I know my abilities, but that's basically what my decision is based off of, what I'm comfortable doing, and what my abilities are. So this was fun, folks. Another one in the books. We're just making steady progress. One more time. Account now is at $101,611.20. We started today, remember, with $101,160 something dollars. So that's the reason why that is like that. Notifications, nothing there. Orders, yep, right there. Okay. But yeah, we will circle back around tomorrow. I will get this video up tonight. Thank you for your continued interest again, as always. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if I made a mistake in this video as well and I didn't say something correctly. And I'll make sure to, either put it in the comments or reply to somebody and said, hey, yeah, you're right. I made a mistake here. But hope everybody enjoys the rest of their day, and we will see y'all tomorrow.